Hi, I'm Jim, and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and we're back on this 42-inch machine. The last video was taking the drivetrain out of the rear case. This video is we're going to be opening up the differential and chain case and seeing how many parts we need. Let's tip it down and take the differential apart right now. Now, I broke loose, so I think I want some of my famous gloves on because I always hear it about these things. And I guess I'll tell you the same thing I tell them at work. I don't get paid enough to get dirty. Now we're going to need a 5/32 Allen wrench. The other side on the sleeve that locks the axle to the bearing was an 1/8 inch. This one is 5/32. And this one is locked on as it should be. It just wasn't spun and tightened like you'd think it would be. And I got a problem already. I'm going to have to find a file. I'll be right back. Okay, now we'll see if we can get these burrs off this shaft. I don't know, they look pretty bad. Now, years ago, I talked to Bruce at Applied Industrial, where I buy my bearings. Still ain't gonna come off. And he told me about a repair sleeve that I'm gonna have to check into for this axle. I don't know if you can see this big groove on here or not, but that's where the lip seal was riding. And it's got an awful deep, wide groove wore into the shaft to the point where a new lip seal is not going to seal. Hey, we got it off that time. I got some cardboard on the floor where I'm going to throw all this stuff. Let's see if we can get this cover off. To get these apart, you got to take out these 13 screws around the perimeter of the differential cover. That's right, I said 13. It's a good thing I am not superstitious. The bearing on the other side doesn't feel bad, but it is noisy and it has no grease left in it. So I don't know, I'm going to have to clean it up and repack it and see what it sounds like and if it feels any better. Otherwise, we'll probably have to put new bearings in this thing also. Now the bearing is probably a little bit tighter fit than the collar was, so I'm hoping that's going to come off, or we'll have to do some more filing. Now to separate these, please don't grab a big screwdriver and drive it in here and pry it, because you can bend either this fender or the case and you'll have trouble with it resealing. To grab my hammer, I use a couple putty knives and I drive them in that crack all the way around. Well, that come right open. That really surprises me. Nope, more filing. Apparently, okay, that was the wife that stopped in for a minute. She wanted me to help her cover up some of her flowers that are coming up way too early. The next couple nights here in Michigan, it's supposed to get down to 28 degrees. Maple syrup farmers should just love this. All right, let's see if we can get this off now. Like I said, I'm very surprised. Usually I have to take a putty knife and drive it in the crack all the way around to break it loose. You don't want to just pry on it. All right. And whoever did this did not use Permatex on the gaskets. Some people do, some don't. Personally, I do. I want to make sure it doesn't leak. And surprisingly, for the size of this machine, it is only a 4-pinion gear, which I'm glad, because I can see now that the teeth are to a razor edge. They are totally gone. I don't know if I can show you or not. You can see the teeth on here. There's no flats left on them at all. Nice. So that will definitely have to be replaced. Another email coming in. I am really surprised. Of course, I know this thing's been worked on before, just by looking at some of the things that they put back together. So that kind of surprises me that the snapper lube is still intact. By that I mean it hasn't turned into paste yet. You can see it still is running a little. And we'll throw that down on the cardboard. So far we know we have to have a new gear. These I'll have to check to make sure that the bushings inside this tube are still okay. Well, this thing's really running. We got a lot of parts to clean this week. Ooh, doesn't this look fun? Sure hope my bag don't have a hole in it. Gonna scrape it all down that hole and let it drip in the bag. I think what I might do is tomorrow, see, they got the wrong washers on here. They have no seal on there. They don't have the cone-shaped washers. They just got two standard washers on the top side of this. That's gonna cause a lot of leaking. Let's see what they have on the bottom side. That's put together the way it's supposed to be. A washer and then the lock washer. The lock washer does not go between the washer and the head. It goes between the washer and the case. Don't ask me why. If I was doing it, I would put it under the head against the washer. But hey, actually I wouldn't have a washer. I would just use the lock washer. So we made a big enough mess out of this. We can move on to the next one. Trying to wipe up some more of this oil. I should say this wonderful snapper lube. I will give it credit, it is still liquid. So I can use all these rags I want because I have a $40 shop charge for rags and gloves. LOL. Like anybody would pay that. There, that one's gone. And it's on to the next one. Try to clean up some of my mess. Okay. Now let's see what's inside that chain case. We might as well take the brake off. Here's the spring. Keeps the brake working from rattling, not from working. We'll clean that up too. Now we can take that off. Don't know, some of them know. This one's a 1/2 inch. This one is 7/16 on both sides. There's my ratchet. Usually they don't screw into the case. The hole's big enough it's supposed to slide right through. Now the little washer or ring is in there, so you can't over tighten it. I guess it's actually a piece of tubing. And we'll pop this apart. Now, does anybody know how many bolts are in the circumference of this chain case? That should make me a little board to hold these things, I guess. No, there's not 13. I think they realized that was a problem with the differential. There's only 10 in this one, plus the one that holds the brake on, if you want to count that. I guess I'm going to have to chase this thing around the room. We'll see if this pops apart or if I gotta pry it apart. Now, do you think the oil in this is going to be like it was in the differential, or is it going to be all dried up into paste? Uh-oh, lost the socket. Well, that one popped right open too. Yeah, we got some water in there from power washing. Speaking of power washing, went to use my power washer and it doesn't work. Isn't that nice? So I guess we'll be adding a new tool to the arsenal. Now this is a little thicker than the other one. Not bad. I'm going to have to get a pair of pliers to pull that key out. Okay, I've had a lot of guys ask, how do you get the keys out of the shafts? I'll use a pair of these. You can get them at any home improvement store, but they work pretty well for grabbing onto and popping that key out. I don't know how much of this you can see. I'm going to grab onto the key and just pry down on it. And it pops it right out. Take off the cone-shaped washer, and this does not want to come out of there because of the O-ring. Here's what's left of the thrust washer that goes on to the end of the shaft. Let's see if we can make a really big mess. And now we have that apart. We're going to throw that down on the cardboard. Let it drip on that instead of my floor. Now we see what these bearings look like. Needle bearings don't look bad. It's hard to tell without the shaft in there. Them feel good. I don't feel anything wrong with that one. I don't know. Personally, as far as I have this tore down, I think I would put new bearings in there and be done with it. especially as far away as this guy lives. I wouldn't want him to call me in a year and say, hey, the bearings in my chain case went out. Now I got to bring this thing all the way back to you. I don't think I would like that if I was him. So I will check and see how much the bearings are for the chain case and suggest that we replace them now along with everything else. Take something and see if we can get this gasket off. I think what I am going to do, let me tip this back down here. I'm just scraping this off with a putty knife and it's coming right off. So apparently there was no Loctite, no form of gasket put on them things. So I guess I will box all this stuff up. I might run it down to the shop tonight and throw it in the parts tank and let it soak the rest of the weekend. It can soak all day Monday, and Monday night when I get out of work, I'll clean them all, wipe them off, and see what everything really looks like. I can tell right now that big gear is shot. Thank goodness it's not an 8-pinion gear because I don't have any made yet. That's the next thing I'm going to try to make, is an 8-pinion differential gear. A lot of people want them. Actually, my opinion on them, they were made and put in the extra tough series machines because they had snow plows that went on the front of these machines for plowing snow. They had snow blowers and they had the thatchers. They quit making all of them when they quit putting 8-pinion gears in these machines. So I'm pretty sure my opinion on that would be, if you're not going to be using a snow plow or a snow blower, I wouldn't worry about an 8-pinion gear. But there's people that want to rebuild their machine original, and I guess I'll make them if they really want them. So that's it for this video. I think I'm going to go over tomorrow and get a new power washer. Of course, I'm looking at a Steel 800, and we'll see what that looks like, what kind of warranty it has, and we may be bringing one of them home tomorrow afternoon. Sorry, I'm a little dry. So until next time, please subscribe. I need your help. And I got a lot of stuff to clean up tomorrow. The only thing left, I don't know if you've seen the rear case or not. I gotta see the screen or I can't tell what you're looking at. There's the rear case. There's nothing left to take out of it. So when I get that power washer, I will take that out in the yard and power wash that along with some of the other parts. I've got a few of them lined up. I have to take down and get welded. I got to get the mower deck welded. I got to get the front end welded. And when I talk about the front end, this is an SR machine. And they did quit making these also. That's the front end for it. It's got the rectangular tube. A lot of these crack. And they're like $400 and some for one of them. This one we're going to weld up. I tore two other machines apart that are SRs. 28-inch machines. And I've got the front ends. I was going to get rid of them, but as many of these things break. I've got 2 of these that are in good shape. If somebody wants them and they want to pay the shipping, you can have them. Otherwise, I'm going to take them to my son-in-law's and throw them in his scrap dumpster. I was going to do that a while ago, but after this one came in and it's broke like the other one was, must be I got 3 of these I tore apart, because one was busted and I've got 2 good ones. So until next time, please subscribe, and as always, work safe, have fun, and keep on snapping. We'll talk to you soon. So long.